Welcome to Deep Thought. You create your own reality. I'm gonna tell you what is reality. Some people would just say it's everything happening out here, but that's more just the environment. When I talk about reality, how is your life? How you living your life? In the last episode, I talked about social class. It's a different reality between someone who lives in a poor area where they barely survive and might be living in a place that got rats and roaches and stuff like that, versus somebody who living in a rich area and they don't have bugs. Like where I live now, I might see an occasional spider. But I haven't had to worry like where I lived last time. Oh, we would get mice in the building. Whereas here, like I say, an occasional spider. But somebody might think that's small, but it's very different. Now, how am I in like two different realities? I created it with the amount of money I'm making. And just my mindset was like, oh no, I can't be living there. I gotta be laying out traps and everything. Can't be doing that. So it's like, okay, you created that. Because even when we talk about money, what do? People create their reality. That's a tool that people can use to create a reality. They can live in a certain area. They can raise their children in a certain area. They can have their children in certain programs, certain schools. In fact, if you look at that, if you look at people who, like, if you look at the upper classes, they create a reality for their children from birth. They create a reality. They'll put them in like a selective kindergarten, preschool, have them involved in certain sports activities and everything, the best schools. They create a certain reality for them, which when these children grow up, they will replicate that reality because this is what they're used to, versus a child who, they might not have gotten a lot of attention. They might have grown up in like a poor area. And, if that mindset sticks, what do? They'll grow up and replicate that. They'll replicate that in their own behavior and everything because it's what they're used to. Now, say they introduce one way or the other, introduced to something better, and it could be through books. It could be through meeting the right person, maybe working in a certain place. They introduced to something better. All of a sudden, they might say, I want to change that reality. And, and it goes beyond even money. It's like, okay, who you hang around? What do you believe? What philosophies are you following? You get a choice. How do you want to live? How do you want to live? Do you want to live in some place where it's going to be troublesome? Yeah, it might be cheaper and everything, but that's not who you are. I remember, because I had said before, even though I had 2 years, 2 different degrees and everything, for a while I was living with my grandmother. Now, I could have moved out right away, but I would have been living in an environment where I would have to keep my head on the swivel. They weren't the same environments that I liked. When I eventually moved, I moved to a definitely upper middle class area. But that was the reality. I created that reality. And see, understand something. It's a matter of, well, first money, if you're talking about money, that's just a tool to help you create it. But in your mind, you creating the reality that you're in. It's within you. Like you're creating a reality. Like, let me use relationships for an example. One of the things on my main channel, I have no problems deleting the comments of somebody who has a negative thought about women or, just even being successful with women. Reason why, the reality I want anyone who supports that channel to have is there's an abundance of women, good women. You know, they have to start up here, because think about something. If your reality that in your mind all women are bad, that's all you're gonna run into. And the same thing for women. If they thinking all men are dogs, that's all they're gonna run into. But if in their mind their reality is, or the reality they want is, oh, the women are mostly good, or at least the women that come my way are good, they're compatible. Well, guess what's going to happen? Same thing with the women. If women really wanted a good man, they got to change their mindset that the men are bad. Because haven't y'all noticed that if we're just talking about relationships, people who think the opposite sex is bad, they keep running into them. But people who say, no, they ain't that bad. They, got some good stuff. They run into them. That's the important thing. That's the important thing, is what you believe. And we do that by the things we do, where we go, the reality we create. How do we, let me use the relationship thing because it's so powerful. Are we creating a reality where we're maximizing our attractiveness to the opposite sex? Or are we creating one where we're repelling them? Like clothing. Are you wearing your clothing as a magnet or a shield? When you're wearing your clothing as a magnet, you showing, you emphasizing your body and everything, whether you male or female. When you do that, you're going to attract more. But say you have like a woman. Say it's a woman with a Coke bottle body, but she hides it. She hides it. She creating a reality. She's not going to attract the men the same way. She's not going to attract the men the same way. Or a man, when he wears some clothing, wear some nice fitted clothes, fit. You notice women that say fit. He's going to attract a certain type. It's like I saw that dating show, the one with the balloons everybody is talking about. And a guy came out there, he said it was an attorney, but his look didn't say attorney or a law school graduate. His look didn't say it. His look said, oh, you're just some guy bopping around. But if he had came out there in a nice looking suit and everything, a certain look, not wearing a cap, a suit, that would have created a different impression in them right away. They would have held on to the balloons at least until they heard him speak. In fact, when you talk about image, that creates something in other people's minds. But that's something you have control over. Like when I'm wearing certain clothing, like in doing these videos, I'm consciously creating an image. I'm creating a reality. I'm consciously doing it. Wearing this, I'm consciously doing something that's not accidental. Or when I do my other videos, I'm creating something there. And that's something that you really have to think about. You have the power, because once you understand yourself through different modalities, whether it's how much money you're making or how you present yourself, you are doing your part to create the reality on how people are going to perceive you, and it's giving it's giving you power. I want y'all to really think about that. You created, you have power. Like even how you react to everything that happens outside of you, you have control over that. You create the reality of how you respond to that. Now I want you to really think about that, all right? So anyway, I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.